Welcome to the Be a Paid Speaker Now podcast. I'm Deborah Deras, your host and top Latina peak performance speaker. Each week, you will learn from top experts in the speaking industry, insider secrets of what works and what doesn't, so that you can monetize your expertise. My intention is to be your speaking coach, to provide you with resources and experts that have done it before you so that you can get your message out into the world faster and easier. Enjoy the show. Einstein says you can't solve a problem from the consciousness that created it. You can't solve a problem at the level of the problem. And when we think about all of the problems that keep us up at night, have any of you been up all night just thinking, solving problems in your mind, or attempting to do so? I don't know if I'm just crazy, but I've even had arguments, disagreements, and conversations with people in my dream. And I woke up and I was upset. Why? Because our thoughts create our emotions, create our behaviors, create our results. So the act of being able to manage the incessant thinking is so vital. And it's vital because did you know we have 68,000 thoughts going through our mind each and every day? And 85% of them are the same thoughts that we've had the day before. And if our thoughts are focused at the level of the problem, on the problem, we are going to be stuck and stagnant. And as human resource managers, our role is to create an efficient workforce, to encourage our talent to grow and to develop, and to create operations and systems that allow everyone to thrive so that our organization can be at the top of innovation and the leader in our global economy. But how can we do that? That's what we're going to talk about this hour. I am going to share with you a strategy, several strategies, but one main one to be able to create a mindful workforce, one where you can optimize your energy, reduce your stress, and increase your performance. And the strategy that I'm going to share with you is called mindfulness. And mindfulness, simply defined, is awareness. That's right. Say it out loud. Awareness. It is being aware and present to our thoughts, to our emotions, to our behaviors, so that we can create the results that we want. And I am going to share with you simple and easy strategies that you can apply anywhere that's going to help you tremendously. How many of you would like to have more energy at the end of the day? How many of you would like to be able to reduce stress that's keeping you up at night? How many of you would like to clear out your mind so you can have those powerful ideas that will facilitate creativity and even genius potential? How many of you would like to be able to have even more patience and deal at a higher level of emotional intelligence to be able to handle other people's challenges and problems that fall on your desk? Sounds great? Fantastic. And how I got started in this process of mindfulness, this journey of practicing mindfulness, is I was a little bit stressed out. In fact, can I admit something to you? I was an adrenaline addict. That's right, an adrenaline addict. And when I say adrenaline addict, I'm not talking about bungee jumping or skydiving. I'm talking about I was addicted to being constantly in activity. Just go, 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 do, 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 never stopping even for a minute. Why? I was taught, like most of us, faster is better, more is better. No pain, no gain. And this was only reinforced in my household. I don't know about you, but I was born from immigrant parents. My mother's family came from Latvia, Lithuania, and Hungary. My father's parents, my father came from Bogota, Colombia. And I will tell you, I would hear it from both ends. My father would say, El flojo trabaja doble, the lazy one does double work. And I thought being lazy was the worst thing I could ever do. So I assumed that working harder was going to produce more productivity and higher performance. Little did I know I was misunderstanding what he meant. Then on my other side, I was reminded of the sacrifices and all the suffering that they made walking in the snow to school so that I could have a better life. I had both the Catholic and Jewish guilt riding down on me, and I didn't see it to be any problem. People would ask me, how do you get all that you get done in a day? And I would say, I just do it. And I would put my hair back, not realizing that my hair had been falling out in clumps as a result of stress, that my colds had become chronic bronchitis and even walking pneumonia because my adrenals were completely burnt out, affecting my immune system. And it didn't occur to me that anything was wrong until one day I woke up in the hospital, 25 years young, with adrenal burnout. You see, the adrenal glands are meant to be used in fight or flight in case of emergency. But when we operate from the mode of overdrive, putting the gas, it's like putting our foot on the gas while we're putting our foot on the brake. We're not going to go anywhere. In fact, we're probably going to crash and burn because the body cannot sustain it. And we think of ourselves in our organizations, all of us are here because we want to allow our talents and skills and abilities to be used. We all have a purpose. It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We want to feel that our life has meaning and that we are making a difference each and every day. And in order for this to be sustainable, we have to operate like a marathon and pace ourselves because the sprint will cause us to crash and burn. And so I realized there had to be a better way. There had to be a better way to achieve success, peak performance, high productivity, and a level of excellence and innovation. And I realized it was through 7 principles. And these 7 principles I wrote about in my book, Confessions of an Adrenaline Addict. And Confessions of an Adrenaline Addict is a guidebook of exercises, coaching, tools to be able to be successful without compromising our health and well being. Because let's face it, if we don't invest in our health, we are going to pay in sickness. And when you look at the statistics for autoimmune diseases like fibromyalgia, lupus, Epstein Barr, chronic fatigue, all of this can be avoided and revenue can be saved when we learn how to manage our stress. And that's what we're going to do today through a practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is awareness. When we are aware of what's happening, not only on the conscious mind, which is at the surface, but the subconscious mind, which is what lies below the surface, that are our thoughts, our emotions, and our memories. We can learn to tap into the power of our superconscious mind that Carl Jung talks about, which allows us to get into the expanded awareness where creative and innovative ideas, new business models like Airbnb or Uber are created and invented. Apple created iPhone. All of these new innovations come when we're able to tap into the superconscious mind. But if we are totally disconnected from our mind and connected to technology that disrupts our thought patterns, we are going to remain stuck and stagnant. And I'm committed to help you and your organization to thrive, to optimize your energy, and to be able to focus your attention on growing and expanding. And mindfulness is going to help you get there. So let me just demonstrate to you about mindfulness because I can't teach you something that you don't practice. Because how the brain works is it processes information in three ways, actually, four ways. There's visual, we need to see it. That's why I gave you this handout. Auditory, you need to hear it. That's why I'm speaking to you. Auditory digital, you need to say it out loud. You need to say it what? Out loud so that you remember and retain it. If you ever want people in your life to remember what you say, ask them to repeat it and you will find they remember. Because people don't remember what we say, they remember what they say. The sweetest voice you'll ever hear is your own. And that's why self talk and affirmations are so powerful. Then we have kinesthetic learning style, which is we need to feel it and we need to do it to really get a grasp and a hold on what we're talking about. I could show you PowerPoints all day of mindfulness, but until you experience it, you won't be able to practice it and see results. And I'm committed to your getting results. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ring this bell. And when I ring this bell, I know what you're thinking. Is this a Pavlov dog experiment? No, it's not Pavlov. But Pavlov's experiment did teach us something that when there's a stimulus, we have a response. And when you hear a song on the radio, you may have a memory. Or when you try something that you've done before, it may take you back to a negative memory. What we're going to create with this bell is a anchor that every time you hear a bell, you are going to go into a state of being mindful. Serenity. I call it a serenity second. We're just going to take time to decompress and breathe. Why? Because if we're getting 60,000 thoughts and 85% of them are negative, we need to clear our mind in order to have creative and innovative thoughts. How do we do that? Through being aware. So we need to be aware of what these thoughts are so we can empty the recycle bin of our mind and allow space for innovation. So everybody take a breath. Good. Take another breath. Wonderful. One more time. Good. Just notice how you feel, what thoughts you're thinking. Allow your thoughts to go in one ear, out the other. Awesome sauce. Fantastic. How was that for you? Good? You feel calm? Some of you are ready for a siesta. Hold on, a few more minutes and then jacuzzi's all yours. So many of you that feel tired when you do that, it's because when we're in adrenal mode, we're in either go or stop. That middle yellow light isn't activated. But that's what mindfulness and awareness does. It allows us to have that yellow light of awareness so we can shine the light of what is working and release what is not working. But in order to change a behavior, we have to be able to be aware of it. Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing but expecting different results. So this allows us to be aware. So for some of you, I know you're already thinking. And I know what you're thinking. Being a mindfulness trainer, guess what I know how to do? I know how to read your mind. Scary, isn't it? But this is what you're thinking, some of you. I cannot be still even for a second. This serenity bell is not going to work. No problem. I have something for you, my friends, because mindfulness isn't stillness. Mindfulness is awareness. And guess what? You could be mindful with your eyes open in movement. In fact, it works better for some people. Have you ever heard of Steve Jobs? Steve Jobs, creator of Apple and Mac and iPhone and iPad and all of these amazing innovations. One of the things he did every day was to take an hour-long walk through Mountain View. Why did he do that? Because he knows the power of the brain. How the brain works is the left side of the brain controls the right side of the body, and the right side of the brain controls the left side of the body. The left side is problem solving analysis. Right side is creativity and innovation, where our intuition is. It's important when we're cultivating a culture of creativity and innovation that we're activating both. This is why a lot of Silicon Valley and Silicon Beach, where I live right on the same street of YouTube, Facebook, and Google. They have bikes and they have exercise equipment and Rubik's Cube to activate both sides of this brain. But here in South Florida, I want to have a movement moment, and we're going to do it when we hear maracas. Got these in the Bahamas. And when you hear the sound of these maracas, I want you to stand up, and we're just going to alternate our weight, kind of simulating walking, but like a march, maybe a little merengue. You have any merengue sound guy? Let's turn on a little merengue. And so while we're doing this for a moment, not only is your Fitbit or Apple Watch going to be happy because you're moving, in order to have peak performance and optimal energy, we can't be sitting down and stagnant all day. The idea of sitting still for 8 to 12 hours is not going to get us optimal efficiency and energy. That's why there's standing up desks and desks with bicycles underneath so that we can activate our creative faculties. Our frontal lobe is where the source of our creativity and genius mind is. In order for it to light up, we need to move both our left side and right side of the body to stimulate both sides of the brain. Cool, right? Easy? Fantastic. You can have a seat. So, what I'm going to share with you are three of the seven principles from the book to enable you to optimize your energy. And we're going to infuse the presentation with mindfulness moments so you can bring this back to your work life and see the results in your life. So, the first principle that we have is the power of now. And the power of now is so relevant because our point of power is in the present moment. And I know what you're thinking. The point of power is in the present moment. What does that mean? Well, if you take time to be still and analyze your thinking, what you're going to find out throughout this workshop is the majority of your thoughts are either past based, that is on worry and fear, or it's fear based about the future. Both of these are taking us out of our point of power where ideas can download. Did you know that we can have a direct download to infinite intelligence, the genius potential? That's our superconscious brain. But we can't activate it unless we are in the now. When we are distracted by the past and what didn't go right before, or in the place of the future of what we perceive that won't go right in the future, we are missing out on genius potential. And it's not our fault. Don't blame yourself. The reason for this is that your ego is not your amigo, it's your enemigo. That's right. Your ego is not your amigo, but your enemigo. It's full-time job if you were going to have it on salary and payroll. I consider you giving it a 10-day notice. You can fire it. Is your ego wants to keep you safe and comfortable. So it has good intentions. It's not trying to be malicious. It's kind of like a little puppy that hasn't been potty trained yet. It's not peeing all over the house because it hates you. It's doing it because that's all it knows. And all the ego knows is safety and security. So it's not going to be saying now, it's going to be saying how. It wants to know how everything's going to be done. If it doesn't know how it's going to be done, it will stop you in its tracks. But in order to be a creative and innovative workforce that thrives, we need to be able to listen to those direct downloads that come from our intuition. I call this the IGS, our intuitive guidance system. This intuitive guidance system allows us to be aware of the possibilities that are all around us. But like I said, Einstein said, we can't solve a problem from the consciousness that created it. And when we're at the level of the problem, when we're seeing it through our own eyes, we're literally blocked. This is why when you stop thinking about the problem, but you go for a walk or you take a shower or you get out in nature, suddenly you're aware of possibilities. Suddenly you're able to create potential solutions. Suddenly you think of a new innovative idea that allows your department and organization to thrive. But it comes from being willing to be present in the now. And it's scary because the ego is going to sabotage you and say, don't take that time to be still, or don't take that time to go for a walk. You need to focus on what's at hand. Well, when you're in that place of the problem, you're not going to move forward. And the reason for that is because you're focused on the limiting belief. So in our mind, we have beliefs. We have beliefs based on our upbringing, based on our culture, and based on our experience. And many of these beliefs are fear based. They're in a place that I like to call scare city. Scarcity, where lack, limitation, and everything that is negative lives. In fact, Debbie Downer hangs out over there. Scarcity. And when we're in scarcity, we can't see possibilities because we're stuck in a place of limiting beliefs. But there is a way to mitigate that through being aware, through focusing our attention in the now. So take a breath and just notice, where's your attention? Is it in the past, in scarcity? Is it in the future, in worry? Or is it in your point of power in the present moment? Take a breath. Excellent. Good. Take another breath. And when we're present in the moment, we're able to think clearly and identify, am I living in scarcity, in limiting belief? Or am I thinking an empowering belief, which is being in a place of gratitude or appreciation? Dr. Masaru Emoto, in his book, The Biology of Belief, talks about the power of water and how our thoughts impact water. As a biologist, he would do experiments looking under a microscope and seeing how water was affected by our words. He found when you said, I hate you to the water, and had these disempowering beliefs, that the water would turn into a cancerous shape. Whereas when he said, I appreciate you, thank you, I love you, the water would be in a place of crystals. And you can check out this research at hado.net, HADO.net. Masuro recently, he was from Japan, recently passed away, but I had the pleasure of seeing him in Beverly Hills before his death. He's a prolific um, biologist, and learning from him will really have you never talking poorly about yourself or others again. And what I realized from studying Masaru Emoto was that when your thoughts are at gratitude and appreciation, your thoughts shift your emotions, which shift your behaviors, which shift your results. If there is a challenge going on in your workplace, maybe in retaining qualified talent, if your thought is in a disempowering belief, oh, we'll never be able to get good talent, your emotion would be apathetic, your behavior would be lackluster, and the results would be a high turnover. But if your thought about the possibility of recruiting great talent was empowering, that, I'm sure we'll find the right strategy that will lead to recruiting the right people. Your emotion would be optimistic and hopeful. Your behavior would be innovative, taking new ways of social media to recruit people, maybe doing videos that were different before to really speak to millennials in a language that they could connect with. And the results could be an increased recruitment of qualified talent and increased retention of qualified talent. How? Through a shift in where you focused your attention. When you're in the now, you can identify, am I going and operating from past limitations, or am I operating from future possibilities? But your point of power is in the now when you're present. Merengue moment. Everybody stand up. We are right here, right now, energizing our left, right brain, creative, innovative. So, the strategy that I mentioned to you, TEBR, you have it in front of you, and you can identify when you take your mindfulness moments or your movement moments, where are my thoughts? Are my thoughts on empowering beliefs or disempowering beliefs? And you can ask yourself, because the quality of our questions is the quality of our life. How do I feel? How do I feel when I think this thought? And is it facilitating the behaviors, the actions that are getting me my desired results? If not, we have the power to reframe. We can change our thoughts, then change our emotions, and change our behaviors, and then we change our results. But it really is a choice. And that's our next principle, the power of choice. How we see the world is how we experience it. This is not just self help mumbo jumbo. This is quantum physics, my friends. Whatever we focus on expands. And this was proven by Dr. David Baum and the observer effect. They took a study where they were looking under a microscope at some atoms. And they said, these atoms are going to turn into particles. And the group that thought they would turn into particles turned out to be right, a self fulfilling prophecy. Yet another group thought that it was going to for sure turn out to be a wave. And guess what? It turned out to be a wave. And the result of this study was how we see the world is how we experience it, the observer effect. And we have the choice every moment of every day how we see our workforce, how we see our department, how we see ourselves. Do we see it as half full? Do we see it as half empty? Do we see it as a cutting edge of innovation? Or do we see it as stuck and stagnant? As thought leaders, as influencers, as human resource professionals, we are the drivers, we are the lifeblood of inspiring and developing our talent. We are the root of helping the systems and the operations and the processes and procedures flow. We are literally both the right brain that is creating these programs and the left brain that is analyzing the metrics and making sure that all of our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted so that we're in compliance. We are that force that is really creating the organization to be efficient. But we have to realize that the choices that we make of where we focus our attention affects the entire system. And I'll give you a little experiment of how this works. Whatever we focus on expands. I want you to focus on everything in the room that's green. That's right. Focus on everything in the room that's green. Now close your eyes and we're going to focus on everything in the room that's yellow. Ah, tricky. Could you remember what was yellow? No, because your attention was on everything that was green. You see, we need to focus our attention on our intention, and it starts with a system that I call PRR. Do you like acronyms as much as me, HR? You know you love acronyms. I use this PER system when I coach my HR clients. And this PER system is P for perception, E for expectation, R for react, and R for respond. And we think about our perception. When we wake up in the morning, we have a choice. Do we say, oh God, it's time to get up? Or do we say, thank God I'm awake, alive, and aligned with the vision for the organization and my activities of the day? But how we see the world is how others will see us. And people don't do what we say. You know this from all your leadership courses. People do what we do. It's modeling. So our perception each and every day has to be one on best case scenario. It's not easy, my friends, because the brain will want us to go to worst case scenario. Our mind, because it wants to protect us from anything that could harm us, will take us back to worst case scenario. It's the ego, again, that's not our amigo, that wants us to be safe and secure. But we need to be vigilant. We need to be focused and aware. And we have a practice of mindfulness that allows us to shift our perception from worst case scenario to best case scenario. Let's take a breath. Excellent. Again, awesome. Now let's talk about expectation because many of us have unrealistic expectations of what we can accomplish in a day. And when we beat ourselves up for what we haven't done, we take away valuable resources and energy from getting done what we need to get done. One of the things that they do in Silicon Valley and Silicon Beach, the heart and soul of creativity and innovation with companies like Airbnb and Uber, Facebook, Google, YouTube, etc., is they take a very high technology tool. It's called a post-it note. And they take 3 post-it notes. How do I know? Because I lived in San Francisco for a startup I was working on. And they take 3 post-it notes and they put it on the whiteboard. And they say to themselves, what is the 3 top income producing activities, or for you, revenue generating activities, or revenue saving activities that you can do today? And that's what they focus on. Because remember, whatever we focus on expands. But if we have unrealistic expectations by having a to do list that's the size of a football stadium, we're never going to feel accomplished at the end of the day. And that idea of never feeling accomplished is going to lead us to take work home. And that's going to lead us to put our laptop under our pillow and our cell phone under our hand. And we're not going to sleep. And therefore, we're not going to be productive. And it's a vicious cycle. So, what we need to do is to create reasonable expectations of what we can get done in a day by picking the top 3 highest priority revenue generating or income producing activities that are going to move the needle forward and achieve our goals and metrics. Then we get to the R, and this stands for shifting from reacting to responding. And guess what? Your practicing mindfulness on a regular basis will enable you to react rather than respond. Isn't that wonderful? You're not even going to have to try. If you can, and I challenge you to do this, it's your choice, to set your alarm for every 90 minutes for an alarm to go off that is your serenity bell or your merengue moment, your movement moment. If you don't want to do merengue, do bachata. It's your choice. It's up to you. But when you do that on a regular basis, consistently, you will find that your emotional intelligence increases. Why? Because you're going to be aware when your thoughts are at limiting beliefs. You're going to be aware when your emotions are triggered because not enough sleep or not getting the proper hydration or food. You're going to have so much self awareness that you're going to be able to be aware of what's triggering your employees because you're not going to be in survival mode of fight or flight adrenaline. You're going to be present in the now and being able to make choices that allow your department, that allow your team, that allow your organization to thrive because there's not going to be that reaction mode. Nobody likes a reactive leader. People like leaders that are proactive, and you can be proactive when you practice these mindfulness tools. But I'm not here to give you any homework. I'm here to help you cultivate innovation, but it's a choice and it's your choice to make. Okay, let's have a movement moment. Stand up and we're going to activate our left and right brain. Fantastic. The next principle that we have is the power of energy. And the power of energy is what creates a workforce that is optimal, that is energized. One of the things people would always ask me is, where do you get your energy? And you know what my answer is? I do what I love, and I love what I do. Whether I'm consulting with people on their marketing strategy or I'm coaching HR managers to be even more efficient with their energy or I'm speaking at a conference, I am being an agent of transformation. And that's what I love. But I've learned how to be able to expand my energy because I give a lot of energy. 80% of the time, maybe 90, I'm talking, I'm speaking, I'm interacting with people. And that could be really, really draining. And I know you, as human resources managers, professionals, you are not just sitting at a desk by yourself, focused with your work done. There are interruptions, there's crises, there's challenges, there's emergencies, there's people not showing up, there's issues and interpersonal conflicts and documents that need to be put together and memos that need to be in operations manuals. There's so much stuff going on. How can you get more done? Some of you wish that there was just extra time in the day, but I'm here to tell you it's not about having more time. It's about having more efficiency. It's about being efficient with the time that you have. It's about being able to get more done in less time so that when you get home, you're able to focus on your family, on your community, and on your self care. We know that health is wealth. And if we don't invest in our wellness, we will pay for our sickness. And it's just like they say on the airplane that we need to put our oxygen mask on ourselves first to be able to be there for our team, for our department, for our organization. So we need to realize that energy either expands or contracts by the choices we make throughout the day. That's why the choice principle was before the energy principle. Did we choose to skip lunch or did we choose to eat lunch? Did we choose to get proper sleep and put our cell phone in the other room? Did we choose to do the mindfulness moment so we were more patient when we were talking with one of our challenging staff people? When you are prioritizing your health and well being, you'll find that you have more energy. And this is not something that I made up. Have you read the book, The Power of Full Engagement by Tony Schwartz and Jim Lohr? In this book, it talks about how to have peak performance and productivity. And it's not from how hard you work. In fact, these individuals coach top peak performance athletes that won Olympic championships and Wimbledon. And what they found in their study is it wasn't how hard they trained that determined their performance. It was the amount of rest and renewal. Did you hear that? Rest and renewal. So it wasn't about go, 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 no pain, no gain. Otherwise, these athletes would get injured. And for you as corporate athletes, you need to maintain a steady pace because this is a marathon. This isn't a sprint. You're not just working a couple years and then retiring to the Bahamas. Most of us are going to have a career that spans 20, 30, 40 years. And for those of us like me that love what you do and do what you love, you never want to stop working. You want to work until you can't work anymore. Because if you don't use it, you lose it. Your brain literally learns the ability to problem solve when we stop learning and growing. So it's so important. My grandmother, up until the time she was 85, was taking technology classes to learn how to use the internet because she knew that she had to use it or she would lose it, doing crossword puzzles, etc. So when it comes to our rest and renewal, I'm going to give you an energy balance system that's going to help you to have more energy, to expand time so that you can achieve so much more with less and stop wasting energy. And this energy balance sheet is where we have boosters, our assets, things that lift us up to really take our energy to the next level. And then there are zappers. These are the liabilities or energy vampires that drain us, that suck us dry, that have us feeling overwhelmed. And we need to let go of these. So let me ask you, what are some of the things that boost your energy? I know for some people it's music. How many people love music? If I'm feeling stressed out, turn on some Mark Anthony, J Lo. I'm good. I'm re-energized. For others of you, exercise. But don't think of it as working out. Think of it as playing out. You don't want to work after you worked a long day, but when you get to do it, you get to go to Samba class or you get to go to your Zumba, you're going to enjoy it. So think about right now three things in your life that boost your energy that you can do on a regular basis. It needs to be something that you can accomplish, not just like going to the Bahamas once a year, but something that you can do on a regular basis. Golfing, time with friends, quality time with family, disconnection from technology time. What boosts your energy? And what I'm going to invite you to do is schedule it on your calendar. That's right. I'm going to invite you to schedule it on your calendar. Why? Because when we schedule things on our calendar, we see them in our life. If you have a meeting with your boss or with one of your employees, you would put it on your calendar, right? You use Outlook, Google, whatever you use, you would write it down and you would keep that appointment. And we need to have that same level of integrity to keep our appointments with ourselves. Because I know many of you, and I'm looking at you women, many of us put ourselves last. And we're trained, we have to take care of everyone else and, sacrifice and suffer and all of that. But I'm here to tell you if you want to be at optimal capacity, you need to schedule yourself first. You need to schedule your energy boosters. so that you can be there for those you serve. And we serve many masters as human resource professionals, whether it's your boss, whether it's your employees, whether it's the organization's goals, getting it to the next level. There's so many people that are pulling at us. And in order to be our best, we need to focus our energy on being the best by taking care of ourselves and optimizing our time and energy. Let's talk about zappers for a moment. Now, it would be easy if we were operating a victim consciousness to blame others around us, to blame that boss, to blame the challenging person that's always creating trouble in the workforce. But guess what? We can't change other people. However, when we change the way we think, the way other people react to us change. It's a quote by Wayne Dyer that when we change the way we think, the way others around us behave change. So we need to focus on ourselves. And I know there are these negative people in the workforce. They are productivity robbers. And I know that some of you may have them on your team right now. Any of you have some manana juanas? Just blink if you do. Give me a wink. Manana Juanas are the procrastinators. They are people wait till the last minute. And it's so challenging when you're working as a team on a project. And many of us are project based. So when one person is not turning in their part, it makes it difficult for everyone else. And this procrastination nation, it just doesn't serve us. But disciplining that person without knowing the root cause doesn't help. And as mindful, aware leaders, we are able to ask quality questions because the quality of the questions we ask enables us to get different results. When we ask, why are you doing this? People will respond from a place of being defensive. But when we ask, what is the challenge that you're having so that we can work together to resolve it? We get beyond the effect of procrastination, get to the cause, which might be perfectionism. And when we're able to reinforce to our subordinate, it's not about doing it perfect, it's about doing your best. We may see a change in their behavior. Then there's, of course, Dizzy Izzy. Now, let me tell you, he is a multitasking machine. He just goes and goes, but it's disruptive when he's texting while you're having a conversation or emailing while on the phone. You could hear the clicking and that he's not paying attention. Or you are able to hear the clicks on the keypad of his phone as he's typing up a memo in the bathroom. Never able to take a break, even for a moment, to go to the bathroom. And this is costing everyone because there's errors when we multitask. Yes, there are certain things we can multitask, like listening to a podcast while on the treadmill or walking, but there's certain tasks that we're working on that need all of our energy. In my book, I call it single tasking, where we're able to focus and be completely energized. But we need to be mindful of that. And as leaders, we're able to coach that person through the multitasking addiction. Then there's Drama Queen Janine. And Drama Queen Janine is bringing the drama 24/7, always coming late, but with a story. Her life is like a telenovela, and we do not need to hear about it. We do not want to hear about it because we have all of these income producing activities to get done. But when we let go of some of the stress that we have on our let go list, we're able to deal with Drama Queen Janine, not from reacting, but from responding, really listening and creating rapport. When we create rapport with someone, we're empathetic, we're compassionate. People don't care what we have to say as leaders until they know that we care. And when we do these mindfulness moments or these moving moments, people are able to hear us. They're able to listen because they can feel that we care. Then finally, there's Louisa, that people pleaser. And Louisa is always saying yes. And you think, that's fantastic. She's always volunteering for everything. However, she's overwhelmed and somewhat passive aggressive. And it drives us crazy that she's so passive aggressive because she's overcompensating. And at the core, you know this because you're not reacting, you're responding and able to ask questions to get to the root cause of what's challenging her. You realize it's from her not feeling good enough and needing the validation from being visible, from being seen, maybe because she wasn't heard. And by your knowing this, you can acknowledge and appreciate to mitigate and reduce her desire to be that people pleaser from your acknowledgement. So when you think about the energy balance sheet, you can let go, not of these employees, but you can let go of behaviors that your ego, that's not your amigo, your saboteur that's taking you out of the game, such as perfectionism, such as overwhelm, such as procrastination, people pleasing. Let it go. I take a picture every day of my let go list and I put it as the screensaver of my phone. And when I do the mindfulness moments, I start with looking at my let go list as a reminder of where I want to focus my energy because we need to schedule in the boosters and let go of these zappers. Good? Okay, stand up. It's time for a movement moment. Do a little merengue, align our left and right brain, which brings us to the summary. In order for us to be a optimized workforce that thrives using our genius potential, we need to be in the power of now. We need to know that our point of power is not reacting, but responding to circumstances. And we have a choice each and every moment to identify with the thoughts of limiting belief, scarcity, all fear all the time, or the thoughts of gratitude, appreciation, and possibility thinking, where creativity and synergy live. But we have to use our power of energy because this is where we are going to be at our best to thrive because we're not wasting precious energy on things that don't serve us. So I know this was a lot of information and I want you to be able to use it. So I am going to have my Oprah Deborah moment. And my Oprah Deborah moment is to give you an opportunity to grab this PowerPoint. You could get this PowerPoint with me speaking over it at deborahderas.com slash HRABC. In addition to the PowerPoint, you will also get a mindfulness meditation, an audio that I'm leading you through so that you can be able to practice these principles throughout your life. I'm also going to give you the other 7 principles of my book as a cheat sheet to remind you of how to use the principles, the power of choice, the power of now, the power of energy, and the 4 other principles I didn't talk about, but you can purchase in my book, Confessions of an Adrenaline Addict, at deborahderas.com/book or go to amazon.com. Also, I've created a let go list for you. I know that you are great at to do lists, but I want you to be amazing at let go lists. So I've created one for you. So enjoy all of this because it's so important for me that you not just get inspiration, but that you get results. So finally, I want to have you all stand up and we are going to close out with a review, but I want to do a kinesthetic review. And in this kinesthetic review, we're going to take a step back in the past. It's going to be some salsa steps. And you're going to take a step back using your salsa moves. And you take your step back in the past and thinking about what you would have, could have, should have done That thought is a disempowering belief. It takes us out before we even begin. We can't live from that place. So, what I want you to do is take a step forward. This is the future. This is the visions that we have for organization, for creativity, for innovation, and for going to that next level to create business models that have us at the top of our industry. And the only way to do that is to tap into our genius potential, which comes with being able to stop these incessant thoughts, these 68,000 thoughts a day, 85% negative. How do we stop them? By being present in the now, by being mindful, whether we do a serenity moment or a movement moment. We need to come into the now. So, everyone, take a step back in the past. That's your salsa step. Take a step forward. Now, take a step into the now, your point of power. And you're going to take a breath here because our breath is our life force. Our breath is our connection between our conscious and subconscious mind. We can't only be in analysis that creates analysis paralysis. And we can't only be in creativity at the right side of our brain. We have to come together and tap into our superconscious mind that is the state of expanded awareness where genius potential and innovation lies. And we can do so centered in our breath. So take a breath. Excellent. And this is our point of power in the present moment. And each one of you, as human resource professionals, are appreciated. I want to thank you for all that you do within your organization, all that you do to recruit talent, all that you do to train talent, all that you do to organize and create programs and to create processes and procedures that allows the organization to be optimal. And I invite you to now move forward and be the thought leaders, to allow your organization to thrive and to be their best by using the principles. People don't do what you say, they do what you do. And I invite you now to practice mindfulness, to be awake, alert, and aware of how your thoughts impact your emotions, impact your behaviors, impact your results. When you do, you will find that your organization can be at its place of optimal efficiency to optimize, innovate, and thrive. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to the Be a Paid Speaker Now podcast. If you love the show, feel free to share it with friends. I believe sharing is caring. And when you write us a great review, your karma points will be adding up. And I'd like to give you something. If you love the show, you can download a free copy of my latest webinar, How to Get Paid 5 Steps to Be a Paid Speaker. You can download it at deborahderas.com, deborahderas.com/speak now. Remember, you are the messenger for the message, and with the power of synergy, anything is possible.